Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Okay, so I've kind of got something interesting to talk about on this Memorial Monday. So, Ryan Reynolds reveals that he actually pitched a Star Wars like movie to
Star
Disney.
Wars alike movie or a Star Wars
A Star
movie?
Wars movie.
All right.
Huh.
Well, a Star Wars like movie could be Spaceballs.
Hmm.
It's a,
Okay,
parody.
he pitched a Star Wars movie to
Oh, all
Disney.
right.
And it was going to be R rated. So I think that's very interesting. I mean, he was talking to Box Office Podcast, then Variety kind of reported on this. Obviously, he had a huge success in Deadpool and Wolverine, R rated Marvel movie.
Huge success, yeah.
Then he decided, I'm going to talk to Disney about Star Wars. Maybe they could use the Ryan Reynolds touch, you could say.
Maybe they could.
Maybe they could. There's not a lot of details, but he does kind of talk about how he pitched something new. Something with either using supporting characters and focusing on those, or using an entirely new cast. What he said was, I pitched to Disney, why don't we do an R rated Star Wars property? It doesn't have to be overt A plus characters, there's a wide range of characters you could use.
Yeah, there's tons of characters, or brand new ones, as he also, I think, said there.
I mean, isn't that kind of what they did in Andor? They didn't throw in Luke and Han,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they didn't even show Palpatine or Vader.
No, Mon Mothma is the biggest character, and if
And
you
she
were,
was a supporting character, you could say.
if that, I mean, if you were somebody who only has seen the movies, like oh yeah, the lady, the red-haired lady in Return of the Jedi said something about some
Oh, the
Mothans or
lady who
something.
showed up in Rogue One for a few minutes.
Her too, yeah, we're there too.
So they kind of were supporting characters, you could say. They weren't the main cast. They weren't the big dogs.
Yeah,
So a lot of them were new. I mean, Luthen and Claire were both brand new Claire
we got castings
characters,
in
and
Rogue One, but I mean, yeah,
I said a lot of them. I didn't say all of them.
no, I know, but I'm just trying to
Like
clarify.
even
Like,
focusing
yeah,
in
there
with
are,
Saw a little bit more.
yeah,
So
Bail
they do.
Organa. So there are characters who have appeared elsewhere, mainly Rogue One characters. Yeah, sorry. Continue.
And when he talks about R rated, he doesn't mean vulgarity.
Sex and violence and blood.
He's saying it doesn't have to be Deadpool,
Okay,
which
well, yeah.
Deadpool obviously skirts the line
Of a lot of things.
toes
There's a
the
lot of
line.
line. It crosses a lot of lines.
It
Let's
goes
be
into a
real.
list of all the things you can't call illicit drugs.
Sure, I remember hearing something about that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
be careful about that.
So what he says is, and I don't mean R rated to be vulgar, R rated as a Trojan horse for emotion. I always wonder why studios don't want to just gamble on something like that.
I think the R rating, of course, immediately limits people or younger people being able to go and see the movie. Even though parents take their kids to R rated stuff all the time, but
It happens.
there is an implication when a parent though sees an R rating and won't take their kids no matter what. So,
Right, there is that.
which is maybe
Oh,
what
that's
it's there
R
for.
rated, it's not for children.
Which is what it's there for. Yeah,
But R rated covers a lot of topics. It doesn't just mean,
yeah.
let's say, adult type situations. It
Yeah.
also does mean emotion. Gripping things that are a lot harder to handle, those things dip closer to R rated. Usually they involve, of course, using like cuss words and
Yeah, I
all
think
that
most
stuff.
people when they think R rating think profanity, nudity, and like extreme violence or gore and or gore
And or gore.
and or gore.
And
Yes.
or gore. So it was interesting. But one thing that he talked about is even though he's making this pitch for an R rated Star Wars, he doesn't want to be in it.
Yeah, I don't think he would
Which
be a
is-
good fit for Star Wars.
That's what he thinks.
Unless he's a
too.
droid. I think he could play a good droid.
He could voice. Yeah,
Yeah, he could voice a droid.
I think it's very interesting because attaching his name as a star, I think, would draw a lot of attention.
I think so, yeah.
But
For sure, actually, yeah.
but what he's saying is, I'm not saying I want to be in it. That would be a bad fit. I'd want to produce and write or be part of the behind the scenes. Those kind of IP subsets really well on scarcity and surprise. We don't get scarcity really with Star Wars because of Disney Plus, but you can still surprise people.
Well, we gotta get scarcity in movies right now. Star Wars movies.
Yes, but the IP in general is persistent.
I think that's part of its problem. It's lost the mystique it once had, but that's a whole other topic. But I do agree with him
Right.
that there once was something kind of special about Star Wars. Oh my God, it's the first Star Wars trilogy in 10 years. And now it's like, oh, it's the first one since they had that show the other week.
But I do fully agree that I think he might be a bad fit for Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's one of those people who I feel like gets typecast a lot now because people know what they expect out of a Ryan Reynolds character.
Yes, I've seen him in things where plays a very serious character, but don't get me wrong. I mean, most people, when they see him, think Deadpool.
They think
For
yeah,
better
they think
or worse.
they think his
And he has
his humorous adult comedy more roles.
Even in his more serious roles, he shines through.
Right, and Star Wars needs to be Star Wars, and he's right that it would be a tougher fit.
Yes, he would still be Ryan Reynolds.
Doing
no
a voice,
what.
I think, would be more appropriate because that's less than is it Ryan? No, it's just his voice. So I could do that.
Right, yeah, I can take that. I'm kind of curious what he's talking. I mean, I understand what he's saying, but like how dramatic and what exactly did he have in mind? I'd love to hear like just a vague idea here.
He doesn't ever say what he pitched. But what's interesting is he also does not comment about how Disney received his pitch. So if
Maybe
that gets traction, if that moves forward, I'm sure we'll hear something about it.
Well, if the Shawn Levy Ryan Gosling movie does really well, maybe. I mean, Ryan Gosling's going to put some butts in seats because he's again a premier actor. But we know Shawn Levy and Ryan Reynolds are good friends, so if that movie does well, maybe Levy can get him in the door.
Well, they even collaborated in more of a writing point of view too for Deadpool and Wolverine and Free Guy.
Yeah.
So they do have.
Funny too. I like Free Guy.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty humorous. But we do also know that Lucasfilm talked about a horror project, and horror projects can be rated R. I mean, maybe there is some traction to his pitch, but even when you think of something like Free Guy, it is. I think it's. I don't know if it's R rated, but it's.
I don't think it was R. Is it? I think it was kid friendly, wasn't it? I don't remember.
I think it might have been. I mean, it was all GTA.
Yeah, there was a lot of GTA kind of references, but I don't know that anything GTA. Like crossed any kind of lines.
But they definitely did kind of what he talked about, where he Trojan horsed to bring in emotion into the role and everything, and to make it a more moralistic type story in some parts. So
yeah,
I find that very interesting. I would love to see.
I'd love to know what his idea was.
I'd be interested to hear.
Before I would be like 100% like, yeah, let's have Ryan Reynolds do a Star Wars movie. I'd be like, so what do you got in mind exactly here? Oh, you don't want to be in it? Okay. You got my attention.
Yeah, I get it. You understand that you're not a perfect fit for Star Wars, but you have a great idea. I would be interested in hearing what it was. And maybe we will in the future.
Maybe we'll see it someday. Maybe we'll be sitting here 3 years from now being like, oh, did you see that Ryan Reynolds Star Wars movie? Who would have thought? He wrote the best Star Wars movie since Lucas.
All right, well, it's about that time to talk about new this week in Star Wars, etc. Today, Meme Monday returns for our Andor-themed Meme Monday.
Andor Memorial Meme Monday.
The Andor Memorial Meme Monday.
Yes.
And it's going to be a part 1. There are so many memes that I can't do them all at once.
There's too many of them.
There are too many of them. So there will be a part 2 because Andor memes are surprisingly humorous for such a non-humorous
I think that's why they're
show.
Humorous. I haven't seen them yet. We have not recorded that.
That'll be next.
To. Yes.
Wednesday, for comics, we only have the Rise of Skywalker adaptation, issue 4.
I'll be there Wednesday morning before the doors open to get that.
No. Just no.
No, I can wait till Thursday to go.
Or never.
It'll make a fine addition. I'll never even read it. It's the funny part.
You would never read it.
I haven't been picking them up.
Because they really don't add anything to the story. At least they have not thus far.
I stopped buying the adaptations a while back because they're nothing.
Unfortunately, it is a waste of your money that might be better spent elsewhere. But on to Thursday, we have a voice chat this week at 8 p.m. Central Time. We will, of course, be talking about Star Wars and whatever else the topics of the week end up being, because we go off the rails. We talk a little bit about everything, and all topics are welcome. If you have a weird topic you want to talk about with a group of nerds, bring it.
Well, I mean, you made that sound really, like, it gets strange. It doesn't get that strange. I don't want to be like...
It's gotten strange.
I mean, it has.
I think there was a night we were talking about cryptids and the paranormal.
I like that stuff.
I know you do. You
are
very fascinated by what could be beyond the stars.
Well, I'm fascinated in reality itself. What the hell is reality, and what kind of things exist beyond the veil? And,
so the topics do branch quite a bit beyond Star Wars, especially the later the conversation goes.
I love weird talks.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you know, because I'll talk to you about it, and then I get that look like, oh, God.
You don't always get the
Star
look.
Wars or something? No, not always.
Not always. But that's all I've got.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all we got for you this time. So now it is your turn to take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news, or talk some cryptids or some aliens or something down there. Have you ever seen a ghost? I don't know. I like all that stuff. I don't necessarily believe
Beast of Bray Road.
In all. Hey, we live near the Beast of Bray Road, if you've ever heard of that. We've actually driven on Bray Road. It's not too far from where we live. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, no.
But anyway, leave your comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.